What is up, party people? Hello and welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Yes, that's right. We are back after it's been a long week as it always is in the world of football. So go ahead and smash up the likes. We're going to get right into it, of course. Phones going off. We're going to get right into it, of course, with some Champions League talk, of course. We want to touch in on Man City and their resurgent form in the last couple of games, winning the Cup, smashing Liverpool, and, of course, it's a big match versus Chelsea. Arsenal versus Bournemouth is going to be a big game at the weekend, as well as an absolute snooze fest in Portugal. We'll be looking at all of that. Some interesting stuff in the league as well. And FIFA out here scamming people. We'll touch on that in the end as well. So like I say, go ahead and smash up the likes for all of that. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. It'd be an honor, a pleasure, nay, a privilege to welcome you to the community. And make sure you got the notification bell on. You know the drill, all that good stuff. And, of course, here with me, as always, my man Nez. How you doing?
What's up, man? Just enjoying life and the spring weather that's not too hot and not too cold. It's lukewarm.
Yeah, it's where I'm at. It can't figure out what it wants to do. It's hot, and then it's cold. And today it was cold. It decided to be, really, really cold when I woke up. It was like 35 degrees. But
Dang.
2 days ago, like in the middle of the day, it was 90. So I don't know what's going on.
90 in April. Can't beat it, man.
I don't know what's going on here. But speaking of can't beat them, should we start with I think we'll start with Liverpool and PSG. Of course, Liverpool coming off an absolute beating at your hands. We'll get to that, of course. Going into this one, slot changes everything. I don't know if you watched enough or saw enough of the highlights to see the back five.
I didn't. I saw the highlights, but
Arne Slot decided to go with a back five. Was it Arne Slot the one that was saying, only one team showed up to play, and Arteta's haram ball and defensive strategy, and only one team's there to try to actually win the game? Was that him?
It was. And what's crazy is, PSG, I think they would have, capitulated here and there, but you didn't even go at them to go at them,
It was weird because I thought from the looks of the formation, it looked like, okay, we want to sit back. But then also there were times where they were pressing PSG into the very deep. And, of course, Paris were just ripping them apart, just going through them.
Midfield, the through ball throw-in, man. What is going on, man?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a dire situation, and it was like a hodgepodge of tactics because you also saw Arne Slot's box midfield because he can't figure out how to get width with Verts on the field, and so they were doing all kinds of stuff, and I had the sound on the Barcelona Atletico game, and so I was kind of like half watching it. And for me, at halftime, I remember right before the halftime show came on, I remember saying to myself, I was like, I actually kind of like that Liverpool have gone at them, and they're only down the one goal from a deflected shot at halftime. And the first thing Jamie Carragher says is, he's changed it all up. It's been absolutely awful. What are they doing? And I'm like, what? Did I miss something? They weren't amazing, but I was like, all right, okay.
I think that's the history FC in them, man. They think they're supposed to dominate, and they forgot that PSG is the current and reigning Champions League holder.
They're too good too, man. That everybody is.
It's
the front
balanced.
six
it's a
is
very
crazy.
Balanced team. Yeah, it's a very balanced team.
You know, if Dembele doesn't dunk on you, Doue's got you. If not Due, it's Bradley Barcola who's going to be back in the next one. You know, Zaire Emery, João Neves, these guys are all top, man. I think they're the team to beat. As impressive as Bayern were, I think Paris are just like it's one of those teams where, and I've accused Man City of this over the years. When you are on top of them and you have any kind of chances versus Paris, you got to score. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because they're gonna score.
Yeah,
like I don't even expect Arsenal can keep them out for 180 minutes. They're gonna score. You know, if we had to play them over 2 legs.
And there's like I said before, they're so balanced, man. It's just, and the thing about it is, which I'm not. I pass on being on the Mbappe dictator thing, but him leaving that team allowed everybody to kind of raise their level to know that at any point in time it could be they're the next man up to sort of carry the load. And I think that's generally good for a team, is that when you have so many good players that you and that the team itself, the badge, is what guides you instead of like an individual talent,
which they have in bunches as well.
Yeah. So I mean, like Dembele is good and Due is good, and I mean, but then at this, Mendes is good, but then you're like, well, but I don't need him to be good for 90 minutes.
Right.
Like he only needs maybe a 10, 15 minute, period of domination or just steadiness, and then we're good. And that's
what they did to Chelsea.
And then they just tag off,
That's what they did to Chelsea. It was even for a while, and then they're like, all right, well, we're gonna have a special 15 minutes here, and then it's 5 goals. So they're they're scary. They're a good sign for sure, and they're gonna take some beating no matter who they come up against. That's for sure.
And, it's interesting because I hope I'm not misremembering, but isn't the rumor like Enrique is going to leave after this year or something like that? Am I misremembering that? But I swear I heard that somewhere.
There has been a rumor. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's one of those. The sources trust me, bro. Right. So I have no clue. If there's any veracity to it.
Well, But yeah, like I remember hearing that somewhere, which is interesting because I think the issue was connected to ownership. Even though I don't know why he wouldn't be cool with ownership. They literally just do whatever he asks. He asks for stuff, they give it to him. Right. I mean, it's very similar to what Guardiola gets in Manchester. I mean, it's the same thing. And I mean, they really don't. They have no need to go into the market to really get anybody. I mean, they might go in for some depth, but they literally could just run it back, long as there's no injuries. The only thing that there's salt on is that Ligue 1, capitulating to whatever, forcibly changing the game instead of like making them play long. So outside of that, it's, I mean, respect to the team. They as a unit, they've done and they're doing what they're supposed to do as a perennial winner and as the holders.
And it's an interesting point, that you bring up there, that the league itself, and this is just an aside, but if you look at, just for example, the league itself is doing its best to put France's best foot forward, right? And now France has an incredible national team. The French league is trying to bolster their best side, and it's a stark contrast to the Serie A, where the Serie A has been in decline for years. They're not really, kind of supporting all of their best teams. It's been kind of a shit show. And look at the national team. Well, I'm just saying that there's probably a correlation.
No, there's for sure a correlation, because there was a joke. I don't know if it's real, but apparently Italy put in for the 2038 bid. So there's like, we're going to make the World Cup because we're a host.
Because we're going to host, yeah.
So, you look at that. God. And I don't know if that's true or not, but, but they've essentially, they've made themselves, sort of, connected to banter for like stuff like that. But to give, but again, I people make the argument about PSG and the French league, but I mean, if that's the case, then put some players in Lens and get some French players in those other teams. I mean, if you're gonna like really sort of uplift the league, make sure. I mean, at least make it like La Liga, and you got 3 teams that are good. At least, Germany. There's 3 or 4 teams that are good. At least make like it top heavy, not like one heavy. Because then, if that team is not good, what do you do? I mean, I would guess because thanks to Arsenal, the Premier League will have is guaranteed 5 spots for Champions League next year. Why wouldn't League 1 want 2 or 3? I mean, I think they have 2 now, but why would they not want 3 and push for more? Like Absolutely. That's how you expand the league. Because if you look at the Premier League teams, the top 4, and there were 5 in this year, they at least all made it to the next round. So that's how you get players to your teams. And so, back to the Premier League, Liverpool is Liverpool right now. I think they lack an identity, but I think it's connected to the fact that there's a disdain for or disconnect with the manager. I don't think the players dislike him, if I'm being honest. I don't because like we've seen players not like a manager. Like we've seen that. Right. And it doesn't seem that the players dislike Slot. So I don't think there's that there. But I think there's a disconnect between the fan base and the supporters, and the players are kind of like, which is kind of funny. It's like the kid in the house where they see the argument between 2 parties and they're like, I'm gonna go to my room, and they just kind of keep themselves out of it because Salah's like, hey, I'm out. And then think about it. There's an issue with the club, which I don't know. I mean, Asif probably can give us feedback on that at when he's on next time. But apparently there's an issue where Liverpool, I think was it Carragher, who they dropped to like a top 10 of Liverpool, and then Salah, and it was like the same day, and then they didn't really acknowledge Salah. So there's more at play than the disdain for Arne Slot. Like the fans have complained about how they've disrespected Mo Salah, and that the other legends of the team are not necessarily giving Salah sort of his due, because I mean Guardiola said it, and even though his word is not like Bible or the law, to say that Mo Salah is the best or one of the top 3 wingers to ever play in the Premier League is a statement. Like, of course he is. And so for his team to kind of play down or have yet to show anything is a bit confusing, because of watching other, especially in the modern time, other teams or clubs celebrate when one of their legends leaves. So now, I could use De Bruyne, but when De Bruyne did his thing, which was 2 years ago, I think, or like I don't know how many years it was, but anyways, when he went, I mean, City went all out like when he made the announcement, but he made a public announcement, and then City made something after that, but then they did a thing after that, and I still haven't seen it. Maybe it's just me. I still haven't seen anything for Salah outside of the one thing they did with like the trophy case with all the trophies, which I thought was a pretty sweet thing to have. But outside of that, I don't follow Liverpool enough to know if they did that, but I feel like I would have heard something sort of in the football sphere of, wow, that's what they did for Salah, and I haven't heard that. So you look at that, and as there's a disconnect in sort of the quality or of their play or the consistent high level, because they've had periods in games where they've played well enough. They just haven't been able to like put together a whole game recently. But also to say, and that's not to completely like bag on Liverpool. You also can chalk it up to the competition they're playing. It wasn't like they were playing like scrub teams. They were playing quality teams that are in form, and they got punched in the mouth. I mean, at some point you do acknowledge there's an issue, or there may be an issue in the club, but at the same time, you're like, you know what? But let's give the opponents some credit. The opponents were good against them.
Yeah, Paris was superb. PSG were superb, that's for sure. And for me, they definitely are one of, if not the team to beat. On that side of the bracket, Bayern Munich go to Madrid, and
get one.
It's a
2-1.
25
years or something.
Yeah. big away win in the first leg. And everybody was saying, and this game was on at the same time as the Arsenal game, and this was like the real game. even somebody in my stream, one of the viewers came to my watch along and said, I heard you say you were gonna watch the game later, so I won't ruin it for you, but the other game is a proper football match. Oh my god, man. Yeah, and I mean the main difference obviously is that both teams are just all out going for it. Attack.
Yeah. But that's what you want, man. That's really what you want in football. You know, it's not to say, you know, the label anyone has played negative football, but you kind of want to see once you're at this level of the game that the teams who should be of the, you know, upper echelon in quality are playing upper echelon ball.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, this could have been more. It could have been a bigger scoreline. Bayern could have had more. Vinicius had a breakaway. I mean, Manuel Neuer putting himself right back into the conversation of best around, rolling back the years.
9 saves? Was it 9 saves?
A bunch, yeah. And at least half of them were like actual saves and not just like right at him kind of stuff.
Right.
Did well to cover the ground to lock off the angle against Vinicius on the breakaway from the mistake from Upamecano. But I mean, Brian should have scored 2 minutes into the game. Upamecano just straight whiffs it, in the 6-yard box. Obviously, you'd rather that fall to like Elise or Kane or Diaz or somebody.
Not a defender, but yes.
But the first goal from Bayern, man, I expect it to be PSG Bayern in the semifinal on that side of the bracket, unless Madrid do a madness in Munich. That's going to be dynamite. That tie is going to be electric. That's going to be fantastic. And if Atletico holds out versus Barcelona, Arsenal-Atletico is going to be the exact opposite.
Yes, because Simeone will have the greatest bus parking. You know, even though the funny thing is, and this is not a shot at Arsenal, I feel like that both teams might park the bus against each other if it's Arsenal. And like, you look like, oh my God, no, don't do that.
We're just gonna be sitting on the bus until penalties.
and you know the bad part is, narrative wise, I think people probably would say that's what you would get in that matchup. I mean, narrative wise, I think
we did beat them 4-0. We did beat them 4-0 in the group stage. So
yeah. And I'm gonna give you props on that because you guys played a great game, but we all know this stage is a very, very different animal. Very different animal.
Very, very different. But yeah, man, Bayern look absolutely on fire. Harry Kane, dude.
Harry Kane.
Yeah,
doing what Harry Kane does.
Doing Harry Kane things. I know we've spoken on a potential Rice Ballon d'Or, but I think Harry Kane is in there in the conversation as well.
For sure.
For sure. I mean, it just seems to get better and better every time I see him, get on the pitch, dude.
Think about the run he's on, right? So he got his first trophy last year. That's right? My ears are bleeding together, but he got his first trophies because they won more than one last year, if I'm not mistaken. So he got his first trophies last year, and then imagine making the run to like the final, and I mean Bayern has just as good a chance as anybody else, and say he lifts, And I mean, England for sure is probably in the top 5 of favorites for the World Cup. Harry could be, he would be Sir Harry Kane if he pulled that one off, because he's skipping Bobby Charlton because it'll be home. Imagine he would literally have a messy year.
Well, here's the thing.
It would be a messy year.
What happens if it's Bayern Arsenal in the final? And it's an absolute blockbuster. Amazing game. Declan Rice has an incredible, amazing performance. Harry Kane has an incredible 2 goals, amazing performance. And it goes to penalties and they both get the man of the match performance because they were both incredible. And then they both go and win the World Cup, and they're both incredible in the World Cup, and they both go to the final and do big things in the final. Who gets the Ballon d'Or? If Arsenal then go on to win the league, Bayern win their league. Does it really come down to who won the Champions League final?
If they win the World Cup, I think so. I would say yes. I think so. And that's actually a very fair litmus test. I mean, you can't get more black and white than that. You really can't.
You played against each other, and one guy beat the other.
And according to the Ballon d'Or new whatever they're doing, they count big games, right? So
yeah,
there you go. It is, man.
Absolutely, man. And but of course, I do expect Atletico to make it really, really tough for Barcelona at the Metropolitano. Yeah. But of course, it's still Barcelona. It's still Lamine Yamal. They don't have Kubarsi, obviously, because of the red card, which, I mean, and it's the red card in that game. It's one of those where it's like, okay, yeah, it's a foul. Okay, yeah, he brings him down. But, like, he didn't do anything. The guy ran in front of him, Alvarez, I think it was, runs in front of him, and, like, his leg pops up and their legs collide, and he goes over. He doesn't ever really have control of the ball. So I get why Barcelona lodged a formal complaint about VAR to UEFA.
Yeah, but I mean, unless the Barcelona 99th lever is in place for the money to pay off UEFA, I don't really see that one going through, man.
I don't see the red card getting rescinded at all.
Nah, man, because if it does. And say it does, and Barcelona comes back and wins. Do you understand the rage that would come from Atleti? Because, hey, man, I would be mad too.
That'd be crazy.
Because he's going to play in that game. He will absolutely play in the game.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, man. I think that's why it doesn't happen, because of just how directly the impact is. Because then it's also admitting that the referee got it wrong, and I don't because did they go to VAR on that? They went to VAR on that, right?
He didn't call it a red card originally. They had to go to VAR to get the dog. So
they are not going to undermine their system. There's no way to undermine VAR. They just don't. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I hear you.
Even if it's the right thing to do, why would they do that?
I agree. And then the resulting free kick from Julian Alvarez. I get it. I understand why you let him go, why he had to leave City, because there's a certain Norwegian meat shield in front of him. But
we didn't want him to leave, though.
This guy.
He didn't want it. City didn't want it. He chose to go because he was like, hey, I'm a star. We knew that.
Because he's a superstar. Because I want him. Bring him to Arsenal, please. Please. Please, Andrea Berta, please bring this man to the Emirates, because holy crap, dude, what a free kick that was, dude. This guy, he's having the time of his life right now, man.
Even though for him it's a bit weird, because he had a weird up and down spell there too, where he's gone without scoring some periods, and then he's like had some weird form. So it's very strange, because he's also a very different Argentine. I think I saw something somewhere, because he doesn't have any tattoos or anything like that. And the whole Argentine team, it looked like somebody just took the tattoo machine and said, when you're born, that's your initiation. But
right.
Alvarez is like, no, because I think if I'm not mistaken, the article I read said his dad wouldn't let him get a tattoo, and his dad gave him a reason to not get one. And then he's like, you know what? It made sense what my dad said, so I didn't get one. So I was like, you know what? I get it.
There you go. And he may just be loving life. He may just be absolutely loving life. So he may not want to come back to England.
Well, I mean, I will put it like this: just as we gave respect to PSG, because they're in the tournament, Liverpool, you got to say, if Madrid could win, they absolutely could win. I mean, even though I was watching, there was a thing like my algorithm on my YouTube was showing all the Champions League finals, all the World Cup finals. So I just watched them all, and I know Atleti can't stand Real Madrid. They like, if we ever see these SOBs in the final again, just like Dortmund is like, hey, if I ever see Bayern Munich again in the final, I'm fighting everybody, because that's all they got. Everything.
I'm sure Diego Simeone would still punch Sergio Ramos in his throat if he saw him.
Yes.
If he ever ran up on him in the street, he's like, I remember that night. I still remember that night, and I'm going to punch you in your throat now. I'm sure Simeone's he'll remember that forever. So yeah, I get it.
For sure.
I get that. But yeah, man, Barca weren't horrible down the 10 men. You know, they were still going at it. Of course, it always looks like, you know, when you play against Atletico Madrid, and especially when Atleti have a advantage, you're going to have a lot of the ball because you're going to have a lot of possession. They're just, you know, because they're going to give it to you. But even still, Barca looked dangerous a few times. And that's how, in the end, Alexander Sorloth, and this is the backup to Holland for Norway. Sorloth comes on, nice tidy finish, great break, 2-0, and could have been more. It actually could have been more, I feel like.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, Atleti will hope it was. But you know, I think the less said about the actual Sporting Arsenal performance, the better. See, the thing about the Arsenal
is the result, man. That's all you care about.
Here's the thing that at the very beginning of my match reaction, and because it was at the very end of my watch-alongs, I normally just cut and post as a match reaction these days. And so the very end of it, I was just laughing. I was just like, oh, I can hear the salt. I can hear the salt now, because if you take a step back and think about that objectively, Mikel Arteta loved that. Yeah. That was to a T, 100% what Mikel Arteta wanted from that game. That's what he told them to go do. It's what he prayed to the gods of football would happen. An absolute stinker of a game, and we nick one laid on when they can't do anything about it. And I just said to myself, because the whole game I was a little bit annoyed. You know, I was like, because I was annoyed with myself that I was getting annoyed, because I knew, I even said it in the preview, I knew what Arteta was going to do. And I still, when I saw it, I still was like, this is just, what are we doing here? You know, but I was just had to laugh at myself at the end, because I was like, oh man, Arteta is like just so smug right now. He's going to be so smug.
Yes.
Because that's 100% what he wanted. They didn't have a sniff. They had a couple of, they had like 3 sniffs. And that's why David Raya is now getting into these greatest of all time conversations. And can we, like, I know I did a video on it this morning, but that's just because it was in the news or whatever. But why does anytime any player in any game has a good performance or a stellar performance, standout performance, all of a sudden he's the greatest ever?
I mean, I can answer that. That's actually a very easy question to answer. Is because we have what's the animal with the very short memory? Birds?
The goldfish.
We have goldfish memories, because the internet moves on to the next thing, and because we live in the world of highlights. I mean, I watch highlights, and if I'm interested, I'll watch more. But the highlight is generally what people go off of. So we're highlight reel people. I mean, for example, I just said I watched YouTube stuck on my algorithm all the World Cup finals, all the Champions League finals, and all. I didn't mention the Euros and all the Euros and finals. So I would just live in clip by clip. And I mean, so for a lot of them, I saw those games, but if you watch the clips, you actually, unless you saw the game, you miss a degree of the quality of the rest of the team and the rest of the performance. And at the end of the day, how I started when you said you started talking about Arsenal, I said, but the result is the result, because at the end of the day, that's all we're going to remember is the result. So you got a blurb like Neuer had 9 saves. Well, I mean, we already know. I mean, we already thought he was one of the greatest goalkeepers to ever play the game, especially since he can play the ball with his feet. But now you're like, okay, this guy is doing it like, at an advanced age in football. It's great. I mean, Raya had he has a good game, and we don't care who the opponent is, right? And that's not to take anything from the opponent. We just say, hey, they have this stat line. We don't care. Like, for example, a basketball reference, Kobe Bryant put up 81 points against the Toronto Raptors.
I remember.
They sucked, right? And but all we remember is the 81, and because we heard it or we saw it and they played it. And then you got Bam Adebayo, the Miami Heat, put up 83, I think, against the Washington Wizards. Well, we all know the Wizards suck, so we're looking and we're saying, okay, are these the greatest performances ever? And then you go back and say, well, were other great players putting these numbers up against them? And you can realistically say no. And now you have to then say, well, they were a bad team, but nobody else did that against them. And so that's where you can give the guy his credit. So, I mean, it depends on what the narrative of hate it is. What is what's the word? The hateration or the haterade that's flowing on
the haterade,
the player or the team. But you got to give Raya's had a fantastic season, and so I mean, I'm not a hater anyway, so I'm gonna give him the credit, and I think he's been playing really well. So more power to him.
Yeah, absolutely has. He's definitely been doing some good stuff. But the conclusion I came to at the end of my video this morning was, he may not be the best, right now. I still think Courtois edges him. And if you sat there saying, do I choose Neuer or do I choose David Raya to win the Champions League final tomorrow? It's like up in the air. It's still up in the air for me, and so I do think he's been fantastic.
If you only need one game, I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm picking the legend. If I need one game, I'm picking the legend.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's not a disrespect to Ryan because he's good. You're not like worse off because he's your keeper.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But other than that, yeah, we did exactly what we wanted to do, exactly what we were trying to do. Kept it really slow, kept it methodical. Other than a couple of breaks, they didn't really do too much. I thought Ben White didn't have a great game. I thought that the thing is, it's hard to analyze.
Why is he starting? Why is he starting so much?
Timber's hurt.
Timber's hurt, right? I thought it, but I was like, oh yeah. But I thought he was coming back. Am I wrong?
He should be back for Bournemouth. During Timber.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Ben White's had a shaky few games. Got rinsed a couple of times by Araujo, however you say their left back's name. But yeah, other than that, I thought we did very well. I was a little bit surprised at some of Madueke's service. It's not normally what you expect from the corner kick. And it was interesting that Odegaard wasn't hitting the corners in. We were doing short corners when Odegaard was taking it. It was weird, which makes me think that Odegaard isn't necessarily like an amazing from the corner kick because they don't let him take it into the box. It's weird.
But didn't he do those before? I swear he did them before.
Saka does the corner kicks when Saka's on the pitch. He
on the left side. He does them on the left side, right? Because you do in swingers. Is that right? Or am I'm trying to remember.
Odegaard's left-footed.
Oh, but Saka's left-footed too, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Saka's definitely the guy. And our corner kicks are only amazing because of the service, right?
Yes.
And so when the service isn't there, it's
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought we worked some good stuff. I thought, Odegaard looked positive at times. It definitely shows the difference when we don't have Odegaard or Eze in there and we have Kai Havertz start in that creative role, there's a humongous difference, which is what we did versus you in the Carabao Cup final. And it was pathetic. Rodri just locked Kai Havertz up, and so you can definitely see a big difference in the control we have in games when Odegaard's in there. And it's hard to really like be mad at the attack because we didn't like try to attack very much.
No, but I mean, again, it's I'm not saying it's the same as Simeone, but it's Simeone. Like, hey man, you nick one and then you just lock it down, man. That's what you do.
Yeah, it was and I think there's this thing that I don't know if you've heard about this, but Arteta doesn't call them substitutes. You have starters and you have finishers, right? And yeah, right. And so Martinelli and Havertz come on, the finishers, and the first thing Nelly does is he actually takes on his man and gets a shot off. And then the next time he takes on his man in the 91st minute, Havertz is free in the middle and we score. Very good ball from Nelly, who I hope he can continue to contribute for the rest of the season. But wow, man, it's so crazy to me that every now and again he'll come in and he'll go at his man and he'll have success. But then he doesn't, when he starts, he doesn't do that. He didn't do it versus Leverkusen.
And so, but see, that's where the thing about it is that the starters and finishers thing. I mean, you can go baseball and call them closers. It's weird because what you're saying, and I'm not saying this is the case for everyone, but you bring those people on because them against that individual against tired legs is the equalizer. That's how they get their advantage because, as you said, and fair or not, that you can judge it based off the performances. When you start, you produce X. When you come on as a sub against tired legs, you do this. Just as a manager, if I'm looking at analytics, I'm saying that, if I need someone to come on where you clearly have quality, but your quality requires me finding an advantage for you before you come in the game, which is chess. And so it's not a knock. So, okay, you don't want to call them substitutes because whatever, but
who knows?
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Hey, whatever is getting them where he feels like they need to be, who cares?
That's the mantra. That's the mantra we have to have, right? Because as you know, I've not necessarily been a fan of everything Arteta's done over the years. But you also know that I've come to the realization that Arteta's never going to do what I think we should do, what I want to do. I want to see Arsenal play like I play on FIFA. But that's not ever going to happen because I play crazy, all-out attack, push the button all the way forward and just send it. That's how I play, and that just doesn't work in real life, And so Arteta's not going to do that.
Well, it's funny because the thing about it is I think your expectation or your desire in a lot of the Arsenal fan base has that desire because you look at the quality and style of players you have and say, well, we can play that ball. And that's what you want. And I'll liken it to City supporters complaining about Pep. Because you're like, what are you doing, man? But the grandest difference, because that's where the similarities end, is that Pep is, and I'm not saying Arteta's not an innovator, but I've not seen the innovation get the results yet, right? Pep innovates and gets results. And Pep has a giant trophy cabinet full of silverware. So the second we criticize him, we got to say, but he wins. And we can't say nothing else because he wins. And the thing about the other thing Pep does that, and this is where it's a bit weird because, some of the accusations about Arteta being arrogant, I'm going to say I think he's a good football manager, but I think he is arrogant. And the funny thing is Pep gets accused of being arrogant and overthinking, but he addresses them. and he'll own it. Like if he got it wrong, he'd be like, I got it wrong. He does that. And I think there's a certain humility that comes with that. And this was a guy who hadn't lost finals and was humble. So I think there's something there where Arteta is paving his own way. And I mean, regardless of what the season this one does or future seasons, he's obviously carved his name into the lore of Arsenal Football Club. So he's that forever. And, you hope as an Arsenal fan, I'm assuming that as Arsenal fans, you would want, him to to get over the hump, because he's a club legend. No one's going to take that from him. But it's like, we want you to be a club legend and, and give me one more. Just give me one more, man. So I get it.
I mean, the reason I bring it up is that me, you, my grandma, everyone else, all the pundits, Jamie Carragher, everybody knows that Mikel Arteta doesn't give a rat's you-know-what about any of the noise that everyone's saying. And he's going to do what he's going to do. 6 years into the process, we're still doing pin drills and whatever the hell that was.
I saw it and just moved on because I'm like, I'm not even engaging in this anymore, man. I'm not.
He's going to do what he's going to do. And if it works, like you say, you just got to say, you know what, we're winning. If it doesn't work, well, then we'll talk. But, and at the end of the season, there's definitely going to be a big talk, regardless of the results. If we win stuff, we might move into a new era. If we don't win stuff, well,
that's going to be a conversation. That will be a conversation.
Absolutely. But the conversation continues on Saturday, lunchtime kickoff. Bournemouth coming to the Emirates Stadium off the back of 5 straight draws. They have not lost in 14 matches. I think 9 of them are draws.
Wow.
I think 9 of them are draws, though. They don't lose. They've been behind in games. They've managed to come back. The last game I watched of theirs was very entertaining. They were down 2-0, came back and won. Came back and went up 3, or they were down maybe 1-0, went up 2, and then got pegged back again. It was a very entertaining game. Anyway, it was a draw. But it's going to be a very similar game, I expect, to what Sporting tried to do and what Southampton tried to do. The less said about that, the better, honestly. Just, you already said it, actually. Arrogance from Arteta. That's all that is. It's just arrogant from Arteta to not play a stronger team. And that's why we were shit. And so we'll move on back to Bournemouth. They're going to play in a similar way. They're going to play in a similar way where, and it suits them. It suits them. They like to sit back and absorb and then hit on the break. Junior Krupi, 9 goals in his debut season. There's some stat about 1 more goal, and it'll be the first time a debutant has done 10 goals in a season.
Really?
Some kind of stat like that about first season, or it might just be with Bournemouth, might be the first ever Bournemouth player to do something like that.
That's still cool. That's cool,
something
man.
Like that. Or it might be because of his age. He's like super young as well. He's doing really well. Of course, Evan Nielsen's a danger man up top. They got the new Brazilian guy, Ryan, in the January window. He's looking strong as well. So they have really they've coped well with this not having Semenyo. And this is going to be a very tough game. I'm not looking past this one at all. Like I say, the way we like to play at the Emirates is going to suit how they like to play in general. They're going to be deadly on the break, and I think Raya's going to probably have to make a couple of saves, and we're going to have to be clinical. We're absolutely going to have to be clinical. But I think that we will try to build up a lot more. It won't be a lot of long balls into Gyökeres. I think we will control possession for most of this game. I want to see us put it on them a little bit more. I think we will. Than we did versus Sporting. Sporting was don't get scored on. The remit was don't get scored on, keep control, don't give them chances, and we did that to a T, executed that perfectly. regardless of what you think of the game plan, its execution was indeed perfect. And so I hope to see us, put it on them a little bit more, Bournemouth. And, I think Gyökeres will be big. He's going to be big for the rest of the season, of course.
For sure.
I don't want to see any rotation. Like, I don't want to see any, like.
Why? At this point, there's no reason to rotate.
Yeah, I don't want to see.
You got the league and the Champions League. That's it.
Yeah, agreed.
Play the same 11 all the time.
Yeah, get Timber back, get Saka back, and Eze's training already ahead of schedule. So he won't play in this one, of course. But yeah, I need to see the strongest team we can field, and then again 3 days later, I need this, and then again versus Man City. Like I need the strongest team we can possibly play for the rest of the season. You know what I'm saying?
Play that.
Absolutely. And so I have no doubts this is going to be a very tough game. They're going to give us a game. We're going to have to be absolutely on it. But I think if we score early, if we can get an early one, they'll come out a little bit more and it'll suit us. And I think we should win. I think we will win. But have no doubts about it. It will be a very tough match.
Yeah, but this is this is the squeaky bum time. I think they said Alex Ferguson says this is the time of the year. I mean, you're fully. It's mid-April. That's it, man. There's nothing else. You play to win every game because you're playing for position. So every team, including the ones on the bottom, even like the ones that we know are relegated, everybody's playing to ruin someone's season. So that's enough. Like, that's enough where you're playing for positions to make your money. If you're the relegation fodder, or relegated, you're playing to as a player, you're playing because, hey, I'm out of here. So since I'm out of here, I need to show what I can do. Everybody's playing for something, and, whether it's selfish or, team centric. So I think, I don't know how good the games will be, but you would assume that every team is up for it. Outside of maybe the mid-tables that are like safe and they're like, well, I'm playing another mid-table. This doesn't matter. Outside of those, I think everybody is just everyone's going for everyone, unless there's discourse in the locker room, since that's you're gonna get to the to the next game.
Yeah. No, but I think you're totally right. And Bournemouth are still in, they're in a mid-table spot, but they're not like, especially if you look at Chelsea have been shit, Liverpool have been shit. Brentford and Everton are your next teams in line, for Europe.
And they're
so
close.
So Bournemouth should be like, look, we still have a shot at maybe Conference League, so they're not gonna just gonna roll over. Even Fulham go to Anfield. Fulham are in it with a shot for Conference League, so they're not going to just roll over at Anfield. Of course, Harry Wilson's going to want to do something there as well. I agree.
The chance to win trophies matters. Nottingham Forest, they drew today, but they're trying that team. That's money still. And the funny thing is, people ignore. I think Forest has 2 Champions Leagues. Is that right? I think they have 2 or 1.
Yeah.
I know they got 1 at least. So there's history there. There's history there. So go for it. Try to get yourself some European money. Play on a Thursday night. Give yourself another gate, to make some money.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And as well as of course the game is going to be tough, but the greater context is you don't play till Sunday, and so to go 12 points clear before you play is massive. It's very, very massive. I think this is back to bread and butter. This is back to let's lock in and just see this out. And trust me, a double-digit lead is psychologically is damaging, and it's not like City are going to play Wolves. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but, segues are weird. Man City are, I would say, resurgent from these last 2 performances. You guys have played very, very well. And I think that, yes, you're at the Bridge on Sunday, but I think you're going to be just fine, to be honest with you. I think you've kind of figured out the lineup. You're pressing higher, definitely energy, and you smashed Liverpool. So I think you should be fine.
Oh, the interesting thing about the Chelsea game, I was saying this to a couple of the last time I met up with the supporters group. I was saying, the funny thing about City Chelsea is, even if City is considered, and I mean, obviously for the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's been sort of that way, is considered better. Chelsea always gives City a game. Always. They always get up for City. And because I remember what is the 4-4, 3-3 game, whatever, where there's a Fafilian goal scored. I mean, City won the league that year, but it's Chelsea always gets up for City. Now, this year's Chelsea team, I don't know, but that's because there's a lot of stuff going on in that team, man. Like, I don't know what's going on in the locker room. And this
Enzo's suspended.
Yeah. But this is why I said, sort of discourse and the locker room, and why I brought the slot thing up earlier is because you don't hear about that stuff in the Liverpool locker room with Slot, and I will attribute it to Van Dijk. I think because the leader of the locker room said, "Hey, if I hear somebody talking to the media, you're gonna have to deal with me." And I mean, if I'm a big giant 6'4" dude, I probably, that should be enough where they know I would fight them, right? And you kind of go from there. And the team will take your side because in Liverpool Football Club, they respect sort of the tradition, and the captain's the captain. At Chelsea, first of all, Reece is the captain. Right?
Enzo's the captain. So Reece is club captain, so he's out. But then the next guy up is Enzo,
who is not there. And so apparently there was rumors that Enzo is going to put in his request to go to Madrid, which I don't know why Madrid would take him. But if that is indeed the case, so now you got your first captain, who is essentially in the trainer's room all the time. To steal an NBA's slur that they use for Anthony Davis, as they call him, street clothes. I mean, you could call Reece James street clothes, right?
That's funny. That's funny.
And so you look at that and you're like, okay, well, there's that. Then you got Enzo, who is and we've questioned this over the last 3 seasons. We thought they overpaid for him. We already knew Caicedo was better than him, and it showed. And so we just keep having questions about Enzo as a player. And now we can realistically, even though I think what they did to him was kind of a stretch, but he's mentally maybe checked out too. And then and I'm not attributing this to Argentines in general, but the Argentine football team, I'm attributing it to. There's an arrogance that exists with those players from that team. I would include Julian Alvarez too, even though he's kind of made his marker on how he's different. But
you can be arrogant if you back it up. Right. That's why Ronaldo was allowed to be arrogant, because he's a badass. Right. You can't talk shit and then be mediocre.
Irregular.
Yeah.
Right. And so I look at Enzo and I think, just it's weird, because not only do you have the Enzo thing, but then you had Cucurella call out the team ownership and saying, "Hey, why are you only signing young players?" Which, if I'm on the team, only the older players are saying that. So if I'm a young guy, I'm kind of feeling the way, because okay, you're saying you don't like that policy, but I'm a part of that policy. I am the embodiment of the policy. So you're saying you don't think I'm good? And if that's the case, well, hey man, I'm out of here. You're old, you're injured, you're soft. Why do I care about
your head's in Manchester? Yeah.
Yeah, so
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, but he's one of the under 25s though. And so you look at it and you say, I don't care. So that there's enough chaos in that locker room where I sent this to Donnie. I sent this to Donnie.
Yeah.
And the thing about the potential of Roman coming back,
right?
He was like, "Hey man, I would absolutely take Roman back, because one, even though it would cause absolute chaos, Roman would right the ship though." And he would.
Yeah, he would.
He would literally right the ship. Like, whatever's going on, that's done. Eva would be back there. Reese wouldn't be hurt every 36 hours. And then, it would just be, it would actually be Chelsea Football Club. And I'm saying it because even though, yes, they used money to get where they got, they maintained a status for years.
He would go kidnap Don Carlo or something and be like, you're not doing Brazil anymore. You're coming back.
Yeah. And so I look at that and I say, I think because Chelsea always gives City a game, it'll be a game. But to your point, finally talking about the team I support, they have looked good, but I'm optimistically cautious because that we got the game plan right against Arsenal in the cup final, and then we played Liverpool, who played well to start the game, and then the City players just turned on. It was like, nah, they're not good as us, and then they just went at them. And it was funny because one of the signs, and I remember watching this with the guys, and girls, because there's women in the supporters club too. But when they were playing out of the back and they broke the press, it literally looked like City, who was fluid. And I was like, wow, wait a minute. What is this? Nico was there, and the other Nico was out there, and Rodri. It was sort of for me, it was like they finally got how City play. And the most funny part about it was they did it with the gaffer in the stands, suspended. And it's suspended. Now, he was on his phone like 36
the
times
whole time. Yeah.
But, they did it with no pep there, which actually is louder, because if you do it without the guy screaming at you on the sideline, that means it's in you. That's what you do. And so there is a degree of hope that maybe the composure and the style and fluidity that was Man City during, a very fun run as a City supporter may be starting to reemerge. And what's interesting about that is that I think, and I mentioned this before, because I'm not that kind of guy, man. You made a final, congratulations. The result is the result. But I look at that and I said, winning a cup means something. 1,000% that the fans don't support it. They don't think it's a major cup. Nobody cares about that, because if I'm on the field and I've never had a winner's medal on in this club and I get one, oh no, I contributed and we looked good. Oh no, I'm like, literally, no matter how you frame it, guess what? You can never not call me. You have to always call me a winner. Always. Oh, you only won the Carabao Cup and you won no cup. So whatever.
You think Nico O'Reilly gives a shit? You think Nico O'Reilly gives a shit that he was man of the match in a final? And but it's the Mickey Mouse Cup. Good for you. Nope.
Boston. Because now I'm looking at like, hey man, because muscle memory says when I was in that other final, I bossed it. That's all you need. That's why it's funny. Again, I was watching those Champions League finals. Gareth Bale. Give me Gareth Bale in every final. He could be hurt all season. If he's healthy in the final, I want him. Because that dude, pause, I want him to play for me, because when you say come up big time and he delivers, he delivers. Cristiano Ronaldo. Hey, man, I don't care if he's 14,000 years old. Go watch the film of him in a final. He does not play around in finals. They close.
The clutch gene.
Kylian Mbappe. Get him in a final. You want him. Yeah. And so I look at that, and it doesn't matter what it is, because, and again, it's funny that I can reference this. I guess it was the reason I saw it. Spain winning that first Euro led them to win the World Cup, because they knew what they had to do to win.
Dude, that 2008 tournament was incredible too. The 2008 Euros was amazing. Croatia was amazing in that tournament. Turkey was, dude, the Turkey-Croatia game, I'll never forget. I was in high school, right? And the Turkey-Croatia game, it was Rustu. You remember the Turkish keeper Rustu? He had the ponytail.
Yeah.
He wore that blue kit. Dude, that game was nuts. Do yourself a favor, guys. Go watch Croatia-Turkey highlights from the 2008 Euros, because holy hell, what a game that was.
And bro, the crazy part about it is it's sort of a metaphor or an analogy or whatever the literal word is. But when you lift that trophy, it lifts all the shit off of you, man. It's all gone because you're never not a champion. Never.
That's why I've been saying Arteta's at a crossroads. He's at a crossroads.
Yes.
If he doesn't lift anything, bye-bye. But if you do, we're headed to the promised land. You know what I mean? Because that pressure is, like you say. Now you can never say, oh, well, you haven't won anything. Well, we won a league, so how about that?
Yeah. And that's why what's funny, because I remember as a City fan, in Pep's second year when City won the Carabao Cup. And people was like, nobody cares about that. Go back and watch that group of guys when they won. They was ready. Because the next year they won every domestic trophy, all of them.
Domestic treble, yeah.
We won them all.
Yep.
And that lifting trophies. Hey man, I've never heard of a player that's a professional that said they got tired of lifting trophies. Not one, not a one.
Yeah, no, definitely not happening.
Keep lifting that monkey off your back, hey man. What monkey, right? None of that, man. So I'm excited about the game. And I'm rooting for a City win. So well, hopefully I do feel like Chelsea will play us. That they it's been historically that way, and I have no reason to think otherwise. And it supports the point I said about when Arsenal plays Bournemouth, like everybody's playing for something. So I think that matters. I do think Chelsea mentally is vulnerable, and I think that's the space where City can take advantage of it. And City has a lot of guys that are in form, because the other thing that I kind of left out, because the international friendlies are over, the teams are starting to get chosen, and these guys are literally playing for spots now. Mm-hmm. They're playing for spots. Like we talked about Phil Foden maybe not making the team.
Is Foden gonna make it? Yeah, that's a big one.
I don't think he is, but I bet you when Phil Foden steps on the field, Phil Foden's gonna be like, hey man, I'm trying to be there, because here's the thing that really matters, especially if you're in one of those major 5 footballing nations. You could win the World Cup this year. You could win it. Why would you not be on it? Ryan Shirky is on fire because Ryan Shirky is like, hey man, look at what's in front of me. I can start in here. Oh yeah, I'm trying to play this one. So I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to do just fine versus Chelsea, to be honest with you. A couple of things that I've noticed in the last 2 games for you guys is, one, the what I would call the typical City counter press is showing again. So versus Liverpool, like when you lost the ball, you were on it immediately. 2 or 3 guys immediately trying to get it, like immediately right on them, and they couldn't handle it. So they just stopped trying to play through the middle, because anytime the ball went in there, Rodri was all over somebody. Bernard, you were all over him, and so they just started hitting long balls. And once they were no longer connecting with their crossfield passes, the game was over. It was done. That's when they kind of fell off, and y'all just said, you know what? All right. And that's my other point is, what have I always said about the best teams? The best of the best teams, they show up and they're like, okay, do your worst. And they give you 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And they're like, okay, so that's all you got? Fine. We're going to smash you now. And that's what you've done in the last 2 games. That's what you've done in the last 2 games. Arsenal played well for 20 minutes. You guys nullified us and said, okay, you're not going to beat us that way. We did not come up with another idea. And it was all City for the rest of the game. And that's exactly what happened to Liverpool. And for me, that's how the best teams, that's the very best teams, that's how they approach games.
Oh, and just to add a sort of a point, because I know that there was a question about Holland. That's the other thing that really turned on in that Liverpool game, is Holland finally was looking like Holland in that game, because he scored a header because he hadn't been good with headers. He got his header, and then he was beating guys.
Fantastic header.
He's beating guys. He was running off guys. He was finishing, and for a striker, all I got to do is have a game where I feel like I'm back on it.
Yeah.
Because that's it right there.
I'll tell you right now, the bet to make, the safe bet to make for the City Chelsea game, Holland to score. There's probably not even any value, because he's probably like neg 110 to score.
yeah, especially since he had a hattie in the last game. So
yeah, man. I think that Chelsea do get up for big games, you know.
They do.
And it's at the Bridge, but they're just so unpredictable. You just never know what they're gonna bring. And I didn't even watch the highlights of the Port Vale game, their last game, because I don't think
they dropped like 13 on them, man.
Yeah, it was 7-0.
It was
7-0. I didn't even bother with it. So I don't think that necessarily has much bearing on it. But I don't think Cucurella's going to play either. They've suspended Enzo themselves. I think they suspended both of them themselves for talking shit in the media.
Right,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. But they definitely suspended Enzo, so he's not going to be there. There's news. Everything you hear coming out of Chelsea is just more bullshit. I just saw yesterday that Garnacho is probably going to go at the end of the season. He just got there, man. So I don't know. I think they're in disarray, and honestly, I don't see them. Yes, I'll be over the moon, if you guys drop points, especially, since it's going to be a difficult game versus Bournemouth. But if we go 12 clear, I'm not even fussed, really. As long as I match your results for the rest of the season, I win the league. And so if that's where I'm at now.
Well, you can't match our results outside of a draw when we play each other. That's the only match.
Lewis, tell me right now. You know good and damn well what Arsenal are going to do at the Etihad.
Yes, they're going to.
You know good and damn well we're playing for a draw.
Yeah,
because you can't afford a draw. I can.
But even when you need to win, you play for draws. So
a draw for me is 2 points lost for you. That's 2 points dropped for you. That's 1 point gained for me, baby. I'm telling you right now, we're gonna go. It's gonna be a generational stinker at the Etihad, man. I'm telling you, a generational stinker. Especially if we gain any points at all, and we have a double-digit lead going to the Etihad, you bet your ass it's going to be just the biggest double-decker bus you've ever seen in your life.
Well, it's funny also is a very interesting thing is that with Bernardo, officially announcing he's going, I think there's another sort of battery in the back for him and the players to sort of give him a proper send-off, kind of like what they fought for Kevin. And the funny thing is but there's other guys going, like Stones hasn't gotten re-signed, so he's for sure gone. Ake is gone. So there's some guys who were a part of a giant run that, the team put together that are going to be leaving. So like the new guard is taking over, which is sort of just doubles my point about lifting the trophy. They did because that was a new group of guys. Like that was a new group. And so there's going to be a new captain at City next year, probably Diaz, but there'll be new leadership there. And it'll be interesting to see how Pep, because in my opinion, Pep will be there next year to make sure the team that he put there in place will be there. He's going to train up the next Bernardo, which is looking like it's Elliot Anderson. And then, and then he's going to leave after that. I don't, unless the only way because I was going to say if he wins the treble next year, he wouldn't leave. But I think regardless of what he does at the end of next season, he's gone. Because what else is there to prove? It is 10 years and I won everything multiple times. I don't think there's unless he sees, because he said this to Erling. He said unless he sees a talent like Erling coming where I gotta be there to make sure this guy reaches where he's supposed to be. Because that's what he did with Messi. He made sure Messi got where Messi was supposed to be, and he's like, all right, I'm out. I'm gone. You got him now.
Yep. Fair enough. Yeah, I think the league is not quite yet dead and buried. We still got a lot of work to do. I think.
For sure. You got to earn this one.
And I think Man City are definitely going to make us earn it, as you say. That's for sure. It's going to be interesting to see. And of course, there are plenty of other games going on at the weekends. As far as how maybe Chelsea might be affected, and since they're going to have something to play for against you guys, because they're still going for Champions League, just like Liverpool, who I am worried for them at home versus Fulham. I'm not gonna lie.
I understand. I think they get it. I think they. If in my opinion, I think they think their Champions League run probably is done. And so the only thing they're holding on is making Europe next year. That's it. Yeah. That's all that's left. Because if I'm going to prioritize and I say, okay, we'll give it the old one for the gaffer try in the next leg, but our real bread and butter, the real opportunity we have is to stay in the top 5. We just got to make the top 5. I think that's what they're going for. I think that's the priority, because the FIFA said it too. Like, we have to make Champions League next year. Because if they don't make Champions League next year, like, it's a disaster. And I'm being honest about this. If they don't make Champions League this year, if I'm Xabi Alonso, why would I want to come to this team?
Agreed. It's a disaster.
Why would I want to manage this team?
Not making Champions League would be an absolute nightmare.
I want to manage Europa League. Now I'm good. Because they're not going to give them any money. Like, I mean, yes, they'll spend money, but it's not going to be like, okay, we're in Champions League, go get your team.
They spent $500 million. They spent $500 million last summer. Like, and if you don't make the Champions League to recoup some of that,
and they don't make it, the new manager's not getting any money. Not like money. Nah, man. Nah, they'll be like, you got to win with these guys that we have.
It's going to be tough, man. This game is going to be very tough because, like we were saying earlier, Fulham ain't on the beach. They've got something to play for. They're in 9th, yo. If they beat Liverpool, shit, they'll
7th.
No, Brentford and Everton have superior goal difference. Well, they play each other, and Brentford and Everton actually play each other, and so
they could go to 7th, right?
If that's a draw, if Brentford and Everton draw and Fulham beat Liverpool, they're all level, and they'd be 1 point back of 6th. All 3 of them.
Yeah, man.
And so Liverpool have to win, and Fulham will be up for it. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Just based on what we've been seeing recently, this is going to be a tough game. Harry Wilson might have a field day. Trying to maybe put in an application for next season, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
man. Oh, my God, man. Because Cody Gakpo ain't it on the wing. We'll just put it that way.
The clear out might be epic this summer.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows going to go with Mo?
After the World Cup, that clear out that's going to happen. Ooh, man.
Yeah. And so, I think it's definitely going to be a very difficult game for the Reds. Elsewhere in the relegation fight, West Ham do play Wolves tomorrow, and I think it's at Molyneux, actually. That's going to be a tough game for them, but if they do win, it will put Spurs into the relegation zone for Roberto De Zerbi's first match at Sunderland. Oh.
Couldn't ask for more pressure.
Oh yeah, and I was way wrong about Sunderland. I was way wrong about Sunderland. I watched the Brighton. I watched them beat. I don't know who it was. Whoever they beat to go to 40 points. And when they did that, their next game was Brighton at home, and they lost at home, and it was a lackluster performance. And I was like, okay, maybe Sunderland are on the beach, but then they were way better than Newcastle. They were much the better team versus Newcastle. And yes, that's Newcastle, and they're obviously going to be up for that game. But I think Granit Xhaka is going to have the boys ready and also Dan Ballard, if you didn't know this, is an Arsenal Academy player.
Is he? I didn't know that.
Their big, huge center back for Sunderland.
Yeah,
and so there's some connections there, and I'm not so sure, man. If we see De Zerbi ball, I mean, we're very familiar with De Zerbi ball. They might get literally. They might not do so hot with that. They might get.
Spurs have literally shown they don't know how to play that way.
I mean, yeah, it's like half Ange, half back to Ange ball. They keep going. Their philosophy keeps swinging like a pendulum. You know, Igor had the 5 back, so now let's go the other way, and we'll get Roberto De Zerbi rock and roll football. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Sunderland are very resilient, and they're able to score goals at home. Brian Brobby, especially against Romero and Van de Ven, who have their head somewhere else. I won't be too mean about where I think it is. But they're going to struggle, man. They're going to struggle. I'm obviously very interested to see how they look under De Zerbi, but I think they're going to end the weekend in the relegation zone, man. I think they are. Forest play Villa at home, and Villa just beat Bologna. But they had to go to Italy, and they're okay after Champions League, Europa League games. Villa, but Bologna are a tough team, and
I know playing Sunday. Is that game Sunday?
That game is Sunday. Yeah, yeah, because both Forest and Villa played today.
Yeah, today, yeah. So Sunday, yeah. Thursday, Sunday. Yeah.
But this could be the week that Spurs finish up in the relegation zone, man. I don't see them getting anything from that game. I think Sunderland are going to beat them. To be honest with you, I definitely think they're going to struggle. Other than that, let's see what else we got this weekend. Burnley Brighton's not really setting alight any headlines. And then the only other game maybe to look at, if my thing would load, is United are hosting Leeds in an actual old school derby at Old Trafford. Little 90s derby for you.
Hey, man, they like being History FC. This is perfect for them.
Yeah, dude. I can't even remember United's last game.
It was like 2 months ago.
Was it the Bournemouth game?
I don't know. I
don't even remember. I do not even remember what United's last game was. So United fans will be happy to get back in the saddle and actually get to play a game. This game's on Monday. This game's on Monday, dude.
So not only have they not played in 14 years, then they play the last game.
Did they play the last game of the match week? That's crazy. It's crazy, dude. I literally think they haven't played in like 25 days or something like that.
Is Bruno healthy? Because wasn't he hurt?
I think that was fake news. No, he's fine.
Oh,
I think he's fine. Yeah. Or maybe not, actually. I get so caught up. I never know what's fake news anymore.
I've literally, unless it comes directly from like a real news source, I don't really put a ton of stock in those things. So, I wait to see it a couple of times, and then I might hit the Ask Grok or another AI verification provider.
Yeah. So according to Gemini, speaking of, according to Gemini, he's training again and he's fine.
Okay. So, well, Gemini can sponsor us too, just like Footmom.
Yes.
Gemini can jump on here too.
Absolutely. So yeah, that'll be an interesting to watch on Monday. Interesting watch on Monday. I think United should be fine.
Yeah,
Leeds.
I think so.
Leeds will be up for it, though. Leeds will definitely be up for it. They did go through in the FA Cup on penalties, so they'll definitely be jacked for that. But yeah, rivalry game, that should be a fun one, of course. And then we will take a go at one last topic here. You sent me that thing the other day and I read the whole article actually about how the people who got tier 1 tickets now have their seat moved.
Scammers.
And they have to sit behind the goal.
Scammers.
The tickets were like $4,000.
Yeah,
and they've moved them
over that.
Moved them from the middle to the behind the, and like in the corner flag. FIFA on straight up scam watch for FIFA, because shit's getting ridiculous, man.
Yeah, somebody getting fought over that one, man. Because what are we doing, man? Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
That's not cool. And the thing about it is that there's that FIFA keeps coming out and just offering new ticket whatevers. And then what people essentially are saying is like, hey man, well, we know FIFA is scummy. You know what? I personally am tired of hearing, hey, I know they're scummy, and then just, take it on the chin. Nah, man,
Yeah.
we gotta stop doing that, man. Like, and so you said that, and in the chat you said, there might be a need for another governing body. I mean, I know my response was like, good luck with that. But your point is valid. Like, this is a grand opportunity for an actual governing body to say, hey, there's a giant problem. Can we do something? Now, the funny thing is, that new governing body won't win, but it'll correct them the same way Super League corrected the behavior. Like, you at least got to have that. And it's funny because this is not really connected, but I saw this in the news today, and it's not, sort of apples for apples, but it's questioning the value or the integrity of an established governing authority. For example, there's like a thing where Ryan Coogler and a bunch of other famous directors are at odds with the academy, and they're directors, and they've started their own new directors guild because of
I heard about this.
feel.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, because if you just keep letting them do what they do, then they're going to keep doing it. And it doesn't have the prestige, but it has the integrity, and that matters, right? And I know integrity is something that, it's very, it can be flimsy at times, it's perspective driven, but I mean, you know what the counter of you is. So you know what the academy is, you know what your complaint is. You're going to do the foundational good things they do and throw away the corrupt garbage that they do. So, kudos to Ryan Coogler and the other directors that said, hey man, you know what, I'm not going to join the academy. I will accept their awards, but I'm creating this other thing where people feel that that at least they're receiving a fair shake, and there's integrity in how this thing works. And so to the point about FIFA is, you have the continental confederations, which are absolutely garbage. Like, if you watch anything like, what is it, CONMEBOL, like the history of that, geez, man, how corrupt that, like, I mean, FIFA's worse, but some of the corruption going on with the North American Confederation is awful. And so you look and you're like, okay, man, we got to do something better. So even though the people who were looking, which is Perez and Madrid, were looking to do something that was greed driven, they were at least sort of coming with, we're kind of trying to have a baseline where at least with the people on the table from the front are like, we're greedy, but we're going to make everyone equal winners in our greed. Hey, man, I'm cool with that. Now, some people will call that socialism, but socialism where it only includes rich people is not socialism.
It's not socialism, yeah.
That's not socialism at all. That's called an oligopoly or a cartel.
Yeah,
if we're gonna
elitism,
use
for sure.
Correct nomenclature. So with that, hey man, I know it's gonna take some rich billionaires to do what they need to do to start whatever, because it can't be like the kind of rich people. But I agree with your point that it needs to be something that addresses that. And the reason I say that is another sort of point about corruption, which anyone can take. I don't know. I can't see the comments, but any comments on this, I'm sure it will light people up. So there was a picture of the Prime Minister of England and, I think the Emir of the Abu Dhabi, which is the Man City owner. And this is where people's like, hey, man, we're not worried about no 115 because this guy just came to like literally the leader of a country who owns a team is greeting the prime minister who for sure has impact on the FA. So and again, to all of the points we've made, are you going to really get rid of your cash cow? Are you really going to throw them out? Come on, man.
And if you need any other evidence of that, just look at what, like, for example, Infantino is just doing whatever Trump wants. Just doing anything Trump wants, right? And why is that? It's because he thinks that he wants American money. He's going to make a bunch of money from the things that Trump's doing, and Trump is going to put him in a favorable light, and everything. And so it's like, what about us, though? What about the people who are actually going to watch?
We got to not go. We got to not go. We got to not watch. We got to not go. That's the only answer. A friend of mine joked with me and said this, because I said it, and then he came back. I said, man, Infantino, I said, I thought Blatter was corrupt, but boy, I was wrong. And my buddy was like, and Infantino makes Blatter look like a child. And you know what? Man. He's like, you was messy, I'm not.
Did you see and one thing that really, and I understand that in America, there's a problem with illegal immigration. I understand this.
Yes, for sure.
And I understand that Trump wants to try to like protect the event and make sure, there's proper vetting and all of that. I get it. But
yeah,
we're going way too far, I feel like, where it's like, for example, I saw a post the other day, the guy that got famous, the Congo fan, the Republic of Congo fan, for like he stands up for the whole game or whatever, and he
looks like Lumumba. He looks like
right.
He's just like the former president. Yeah.
His visa got denied. He's not going to be allowed to come.
You know what's crazy? Because
it's ridiculous.
See that, but the last news I saw on that is that Congo, the fans of Congo requested the national team bring him as a part of the national team
to get around it. Yeah, to try to get him a work visa. They're trying to get him like a work visa instead of a travel visa, so that he'll be allowed.
Because he's literally a totem.
He just stands there. He doesn't do anything. What's the problem?
He's going to leave. He's not staying here.
No.
For one, you'll be able to see him. Like, we know who he is. Like, what are we doing?
And he wears the most conspicuous outfit in the whole stadium.
He does.
Like, it's a light blue and red uniform. Like, you can pick him out from across the way. Like,
just let them have fun, man. Like, are we really opposed to fun?
That's what it seems like. And in a time where, especially these kinds of tournaments are supposed to be about, the international community coming together and celebrating the game we all love. But instead, and I hate to say it, this is all going to be on the U.S. It's going to be America did this, Trump did this, and so we are the villains. Yep. We're becoming the villains, and so, and this is kind of just a thought that I've just had, but when Paraguay play us, when Australia play us, it's going to be like the world versus America. You know what I mean?
I agree, but you just said something that actually made me think something else. And so I agree with your point about they'll blame us. But here's where I do give people credit internationally. And this is whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, which political parties suck as a stance for me, or you're a Trump supporter or not Trump supporter. That again, I don't care. But what I do recognize is that I've seen in an international community that when people come to the country, the type of people, the American fans, or the American nationals that will be in the stadiums are not what you're going to see outside. And so the fans will know that these Americans inside of this bowl with me, yelling and screaming and drinking beer with me, are not those people that don't want me here. And that will, and 100%. Because I can trust the human nature of international football fans, I know that they are intelligent enough to not blame us as individuals, but our government. Just the same way where, like, you look at what's going on, and not to go deep on it, like either in Israel or Iran. The issue that we have is with the governments in place, not the people. You know,
exactly.
Like, I don't have any opinion of Israeli people because I don't know how they function. Because I live in a country where people didn't vote for the leader. So I can't assume that their views match what the country's doing. And because I'm smart enough to know that, I can think, hey, while, I have XYZ opinion on Israel, I feel like there's enough people in the country that don't support that, or they think it's wrong. But the same way we're like, well, what can we do? They're saying, what can we do? In Iran, they're saying the same thing. In any country that we find out, in Russia, in China, like, we know that the people on the ground who are going to work and eating at Subway and eating regular food, they could care less or have an opinion about any of those other people. Matter of fact, most general Americans, like, we talked about the illegal immigration issue, which I mean, obviously I've had situations where I've dealt with the immigration process myself with people that have been a part of my life. I'm not thinking about illegal immigration at all. I know it happens, but I also know it happens everywhere. And I know, as a fact, the illegal immigrants that come in the country, they're coming here for money, to go home, to take care of their family. So they don't even want to stay here. So I'm just sitting here like, if I'm contextualizing it, I really want this World Cup to be good. And the funny thing is, if we think how we thought about the World Cup in the Middle East last time, we was like, oh, it's going to be hot, it's going to suck. And that turned out to be an amazing World Cup.
Amazing.
And so I'm being optimistic that the football itself will be enough, even though I'm a little leery because they're making changes to the game that they didn't do before. And that makes me a little concerned that they may Americanize the game. And that's where I feel like we will get blamed, because timeouts, the break at 20 minutes, and commercial. What are we doing?
I understand the cooling break. I get that, because most Europeans are, all of Europe is at, I don't know how well you know your geography, but all of Europe is north of New York City.
In general, yes.
Like, as far as latitude is concerned.
Like outside of Spain, but Spain doesn't have
southern Spain, but my point is, okay, maybe the Argentinians and the Brazilians are used to the heat or whatever, but Erling Haaland ain't used.
They play in Europe.
Erling Haaland's not used to the heat.
Nope.
Martin Odegaard is not used to the heat. Cole Palmer's not used to the heat. You know what I mean? So the cooling breaks, I understand, but allowing TV companies to do commercials during the cooling breaks, bullshit. Changing all these rules so that the games are going to last an hour and a half, 2 hours. They're trying to make it like the trying to make it the NFL. They're trying to make it like the NFL, where it's just so commercialized that, man. Yeah, I hope that you're right, and I hope that
concern. That's
I hope
the
that
only concern.
I hope that fans in general can understand that FIFA at this stage are just money grubbing, greedy fuckers, and that they can separate it from, like you say, the fans of the the U.S. men's national team who are just there, just like the rest of them, to support the team.
But another thing that does concern me a little bit is the fact with the prices. Like I was talking to some buddies, and we were looking at like World Cup tickets, and so there's some World Cup tickets in Philly. It's Cape Verde, no, and there's Curacao and somebody. I mean, we know they're gonna get smoked, but the lowest ticket price for that is $285, which that's reasonable. That like, hey, I'll go to that game. But then you think about it, that's $285 in the sky. Like you're talking to the birds and whoever. If you believe in heaven, you're talking to whoever's up there. That's where you are. And so that means that people are gonna feel, and I know Americans are like this because I've been to enough American sports games. If you pay a certain amount of ticket, you feel kind of privileged to things. So there will be Americans is like, I paid XYZ, I can do. Nah, man, you gotta cut that out now. Cut that out now. It concerns me about that because there's going to be drunkenness everywhere. And because there's going to be drunkenness everywhere. So I paid $3,000 for these tickets and I paid $95 for one beer. Hey man, I need to have the greatest experience ever. And I want to sit where I want to. And then it's weird because you'll get beat up. You'll get beat up because that's what will happen. You will get beat up. Because those people from those other countries don't have guns, and because they don't have guns, they're used to using their fists. It ain't no time to go to your trunk or hey, wait here. None of that.
Yeah, you hold on, I'll be right back. Yeah,
no, you getting beat up in the stadium, and so you look at that and you just wonder, and you hope. Because it's largely, and I hate to be that guy, but it's largely Americans that kind of get that way. Because I went to a game in the Club World Cup last year when a Moroccan team was playing. First of all, the Moroccan team was deep. They walked and they had the smoke and the flag, and they had an entire section. They were like literally ultras. I don't know if they flew into Philadelphia or whatever, but hey, all I know was I wasn't dealing with none of them because I know if you wanted smoke, literal smoke with them, you was gonna get it, and it was gonna be over for you. So I'm like, hey man, I'm not. And just think about it, that people had to pay thousands of dollars to get here on the flight. Then they had to pay thousands for the hotel and for the ticket. And then we're looking at, hey, you gonna talk to me crazy? Oh no, you're not talking to me crazy. No. That's not happening. And they drunk? Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna be relaxed on that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I definitely hope that people can have a good time, and that it's going to be a great tournament, and that we can all look past how awful FIFA is and the bullshit, and hopefully it'll be a fun tournament. I'm excited. In spite of all of the stuff, and there was stuff before the last. There was stuff before the last tournament too that people,
right.
And FIFA is FIFA, and I understand that that's not a solution. And at some point you have to kind of take a stand, and maybe football fans will, but at the World Cup, are they going to not go to games? I don't know about all that. I don't know.
Well, what my hope is
that level yet.
What my hope is because I know for like some of the games, like people are going to just be in town early. What I do hope is that there's a camaraderie. There'll be bars and stuff like that and watch parties. And I hope in those watch parties, there's the opportunity to kind of, build that brotherhood, fraternity, all that stuff. So then, there's an opportunity to learn and sort of fellowship in football, because I mean, at the end of the day, there's the hooliganism doesn't really exist in the game. And so it's the optimism that it's the global game. And as Americans, as long as we're humble enough to know, hey man, if we get out the knockouts,
we've done well. Yeah.
If we get to the knockouts, it's great. There's no Pochettino talk here talking about getting the semis because, hey man, first of all, we're all here waiting for Messi and Ronaldo in Kansas City, because that's where the game would be, and I'm looking forward to
Will
that
be.
being the game.
That's going
You
to
know
happen.
what I'm saying? If they fumble, this is where I know I'll be mad, because, hey man, if you gonna be corrupt and steal money and do the ticket thing, you better give me Messi, Ronaldo in
At
the
least
World Cup,
give me
man.
the matchup we
You
want.
better give me that. You
Yeah,
better
come
give
on.
me that.
If y'all fumble the bag on that one, just pack it in.
You better give me Messi, Ronaldo.
Just pack it in. FIFA.
One, you better give that to me.
If you are going to be this transparent in your corruption, like, we know you guys are doing shady shit. You're not even hiding it anymore. At least
You gotta give me Messi, Ronaldo.
Give me Messi, Ronaldo. You know, drop the pretense. We know you gave Messi the tournament last time around. Come on. It's what the people want. It's what the people want.
You don't like money, so you like stealing money, but you can't give me a product worth it?
Yeah, there you go.
Nah, man.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap it up right there. It certainly has been a good one. Hour and a half has flown by. Actually, it's been a very good one this evening. So go ahead and smash up those likes on your way out, people. It's going to be a fantastic weekend in the Premier League. I'm certainly looking forward to it. Hope you are as well. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. It would be an absolute honor and a pleasure to welcome you to the community on the road to 500. Of course, it helps send it out to new viewers. And make sure you got that notification bell on. Fire them cannons coming in at the final bell. What's up, Anson? Thanks for being here, man. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap it right there. Thanks again for everyone that has been here. And you. We'll see us next time.